Okay, so I am going to work today, but I just wanted to come on and do a video. People keep on asking me what to expect after you get an airline job, talking about all the different tests you have to take and all that stuff. There's one that you can expect for flight attendant, and then there's other ones for customer service and ramp. I think I'm going to go ahead and combine the customer service and ramp in one video just because they're almost similar, and I don't know if I want to drag out with two videos of the same thing. So we'll go ahead and start. So what you should expect after you get the airline job. And if I look over here, it's because I have my notes, okay? Okay, so once you get your job, a lot of times you start off doing a cattle call, and you go in. A cattle call is a bunch of people, then you have a group interview. They look at you, whether you're wearing if you wear jeans or you look inappropriate or you're showing visible tattoos, you're gonna already get booted out from the first from the group interview. If you say anything inappropriate, if you just look messy or sloppy, you're not going to make it through the next one. Once you get through the first group interview and you get to have a one-on-one or a more individual interview, maybe with two people or with one person. Once you get through that, then they either tell you go in this room, or if not, sometimes they might say we will call you in a few days. It just depends. Every single time I've gotten a job, except once, they pretty much told us on the spot that we got the job. So after that, you go in, and then you a lot of times need to already have your paperwork together. You need to have your driver's license, your passport, you need to have your social security card, all of that stuff. Most of the time, I needed all of that. At least your driver's license and your social security card, so you can go ahead and start filling out all your paperwork. Then you get all your paperwork. You're going to have a urine test that you're going to have to do, a physical test. So the urine test, a lot of times they want you to have it within 48 hours. And the reason why it's time sensitive is because the longer you have, the longer you can get all that stuff out of your system. Whether it's alcohol, drugs, all that kind of stuff. Most of the time, like marijuana and all that is in your system for a month, unless they do a hair test. That's a year. Obviously, alcohol comes out of your system really quick. So if you guys, I know in some states, marijuana is legal, but it's not legal for the airline industry. It's not legal. So if it's in your system, you're just going to get booted out right away. So make sure you're nice and clean for that. So you're going to have your urine test within 48 hours. Sometimes you have to do it right on the spot, the urine test on the spot, but a lot of times it is 48 hours and you have to drive to the clinic and get all that done. You will also have a physical test. For my CS, when I was with Delta, I had a physical test, and my physical test was, they said, put a book in this suitcase, walk around, with the suitcase by carrying it, add another one, and then you keep adding it until you can't add any more. The trick is to never say that you can't add any more. You make sure that you're able to put every single book in there or every single weight in there and pick it up and say you are fine. If you say it's too heavy, you won't get the job, because they want to make sure that you can lift up to 70 pounds. Okay, I've never done the physical agility test, the one that everyone is talking about, because the way I was able to get in is because I was customer service first and then moved to ramp and then moved back to customer service. I never had to do the physical agility test, but I have a lot of people that did do that, and what they said was you're supposed to pull, and pull. I think it's like you pull all the way up, and then pull and hold it down, and it's going against you. And they will be able to tell if you have some kind of prior injury, because when you're going down, and all of a sudden it gets really weak, you might have had a prior injury. And what they're trying to do is make sure you don't have a prior injury, because then that means you're a liability. So don't quote me on that, but I've had a couple of my coworkers take that test, and that's what they told me that happened. Okay, so then a lot of times after you get through that, the physical agility is not within right when you get hired. It's within that 7-day period as well. Okay, so then a lot of times within 7 days, you have to go get your physical. Okay, so your physical is just a normal doctor physical. They're going to check your ears, your hearing. They're going to make sure you hear okay. Your eyes, your weight, your blood pressure, being able to touch your toe, not touch your toes, but kind of move your body without much pain. They're going to just do a physical exam to make sure you're physically able to withstand the job. They do that for customer service, and they also do that for ramp. Let's see. So that is what you have to do physically. Then you're going to have to succumb to a background check. And so they will run your background. And what's weird is that I know that a lot of times they always say when you've done stuff in your youth, it's expunged, then you're good, and then they close those records. But the last time that we transitioned over to this airline, a few of my coworkers that had done things in their youth when they were 16 and 15, somehow the airline was able to get that, and they weren't hired. So just make sure you have a clean background, as clean as you can get it. They're going to check. When you fill out all your paperwork, make sure you don't have any gaps, any holes. If you were in school, put you were in school. If you were working and then you had a few weeks off, just say, or whatever, just you have to be very clear and say what you've been doing for the past 10 years. After that, you're going to be sent to training. Sometimes it's type of training where you get to just learn mostly about the airline, and you learn about the airline and about the airline's philosophy and all that stuff. When I did it, it was a week where we learned all about the airline, and then that's where we also did the tests. We did the all the, like, the station code test and different things like that. We were taught all day long, and then we had a test at the end of the day. And then at the end of the week, we had a big test. It's not rocket science. If you've met, the customer service people or the rampers, you know that everyone's not super smart. We can be super smart, but not everyone's super smart. So as long as you pay attention, as long as you study, you should be fine. They're no more smart than you are. You guys can do it. After that, so you go to your basic training. Now I'm going to cut it off and say about the CS. Okay, so when you are doing customer service, you have to go through computer training as well. So for Delta, I think it was like 6 weeks. For the current one that I'm in, it's like Delta was like 4 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks. The current airline that I'm with now was 5 weeks, where you learned a couple weeks on ticketing, a couple weeks on a week on gate training, and then another week on BSO and other things like that, which is baggage services. And so if you do have a family and you have things going on in your life or another job, this is where it's going to get really, really tricky, because you have to fly those places. Most of the time you're going to have to fly. We had to fly to Denver. You have to fly to Chicago. You have to fly different places where they do have that training, and you're going to be gone. And you're going to be staying in the hotels, or you're going to be staying at the training centers. So you're going to be gone for a lot of times. They do, like for me, I had to do all 5 weeks together. But other places, you might be able to do 2 weeks, then come home for a few weeks, then do another 2 weeks, then come home. So it's a big commitment. You do get paid your normal salary. You get paid for, you get your per diem for your food, and they pay for your housing. So those are the things that they do pay for. So that's not a problem. The only thing is you got to make sure, if you have kids, if you have another job, if you have other responsibilities, that you can be gone for that amount of time. I enjoyed training because you got to learn about your job, and it just was exciting. Okay, for ramp, what we had to do was, after that 1 week initial training that you had to go out to, you only had to be gone for a week. You came back, and then you did 2 weeks full-time on the job training, where you learned every single aspect. Every airline's different, every station's different, but they were, a lot of times you get about 2 weeks of full-time training of how to do all the different things. You don't learn pushback or anything advanced in those 2 weeks, but you do learn enough. And then you start your job. Customer service, the same thing. After that, you are able to start working, and you bid. A lot of times you bid with your coworkers that are in your same class. Like we had the new bid, new person bid, and then there's the general bid. A lot of times they do have to separate, at least for the first few months, the new person bid with the general bid, because what would happen is all the new people would end up getting just like the shift that nobody wants. Just say, I'm just going to say 9 to midnight. If they all get that shift, then it's a bunch of newbies on that shift, and you can't have a bunch of newbies on one shift, because if things happen, there's no expertise. So they might have a different bid for them where it's kind of broken down, unless it's a big station and huge station, and then they just bid, and you just bid according to your seniority. And sometimes you have to bid 100 times, I mean, or 150 times or whatever, and you are number 151. So a lot of times you might, hopefully you get what you want. If not, you can, it might take you 6 months to be able to trade. I don't know. I've been noticing that a lot of times it's going to take 6 months to trade, to give up shifts, to swap, all of that stuff. When I had gotten hired the most recent time with one of the other airlines, they said that it was going to be a 6-month waiting period for that. Sometimes some airlines and some stations, they let you do it right away. So hang in there. It gets better. It gets better. I'm thankful that I hung in there, because I'm at a position right now where I can kind of work when I need to work. 1 day a week works with me. But it's been great. I hope this was clear. I hope this was kind of answers some of the questions. If you have any more questions, ask me. And I got to get to work, so I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.